Hey everybody, it's Norm from Tested.
And Frank from Tested.
And welcome to another episode of Shop Tips, a series in which Frank, with your many years of shop experience, teach us some practical tips.
Yeah.
We've worked in your shop, we worked in Adam's shop, and one of the things that you've always called us out on in Adam's shop is how crappy our glue guns are.
You know, everybody has hot glue guns, whether it's at home, whether it's cosplayers, whether it's in big shops. And I've found hot glue guns that I fell in love with, and I found them back in like the late 90s. And ever since then, I never want to use another hot glue gun.
You said hot glue guns. Why not just the one gun you fell in love with? Why do you fall in love with two?
Well, I have a high and a low temp gun, and they're both used for different things.
So let's talk about these hot glue guns specifically.
This is a Scotch Weld Polygon LT from
Made by 3M.
And this is like kind of my go-to gun. It's the low temperature version. And then this one is the high temperature version. They look pretty much the same. But they take two different kinds of glue. I use the low temp most of the time because most of the time it's gluing things like foam core or something that you don't really need to be permanently affixed. So just tacking things together, low temp, it doesn't need to get super hot. But if I'm making something a little more permanent, like if I'm tacking together some wardrobe stuff, or like when Adam built the Mecha glove, there was a lot of hot glue in that thing. High temp would have come in handy. And I like these things way better than the ones you get at the craft stores or like hobby stores and stuff like that. Partially it's the glue, and partially it's just, they're just easier to use. Now you can buy glue. I get all this stuff from McMaster-Carr, and you can buy the glue in these like little bags like this, or you can buy a big box of glue like this.
Box of glue.
Box of glue.
And there is a difference between your low temp and high temp glue.
I have this one marked high temp, and this gun always stays with this bag. And then, I mean, you could see the difference between the two sticks, so that helps. But there's also a ton of different kinds of glue. If you go on McMaster's website and you look up hot melt glue, there's a whole list of different ones. This low temp one that I use is the 3762 low melt. And then this one is 3762 TC, which is the high temp.
Not indicated low temp.
Yeah.
Yes. Now, why not just get a variable temperature hot glue gun?
Well, if you get a variable temperature, then you have to keep switching out glue, so you have to purge the system if you want to switch. So if I have a high temp and it's always got high temp glue in it, I don't need to purge it if I all of a sudden want to use low temp.
And what's the consequence if you somehow mix up your glues?
I'm sure it's not a huge deal. The high temp stuff, it's going to be harder to get through the system on a low temp setting. The low temp glue on a high temp gun is just going to come out like water. Not like water, but you know,
right.
It'll just flow out. They're designed differently. And you know, I've had each of these guns for more than 10 years, and I've bought the same glue. They're a little bit pricier than normal hobby glue guns, but like I said, I've had these for a long time, and they're way stronger, and they're way more versatile than just that one stringy, drippy hot glue gun that you get.
Adam has said it a lot. Buy the one tool you're going to use for a long time, even if it's a little more pricier. And in this case, two tools that do a better job than maybe a variable temperature one or cheaper.
Yeah, and tools like this are an investment. You know, it's no different than buying a bandsaw or buying whatever. Like, especially because hot glue guns are so useful and so versatile. Why not buy a nice one? You're going to use it all the time.
You know, Frank, I noticed that your hot glue guns don't have triggers like some of the ones I have. Why prefer your thumb control over a trigger control?
You know, I think that it's like that one-to-one feel of pushing it through. Like with the triggers, you're always squeezing it and you're waiting for that glue to come out. With this, it's right there. Like you just know exactly what's going on. It's a better feel. It's different, but I think they also have a trigger option in these guns. There's a whole bunch of these on McMaster. But this is just the cheapest of the ones.
All right, so that's it for this week's shop tip. We're gonna have more shop tips in the future from Frank's shop. If you have your own shop tips, whether you're working in a small garage or a large shop or for a big production company, we'd love to hear them. Place your tips in the comments below. But until next time, I'm Norm.
I'm Frank.
See you next time.